on Sports Saturday. It's homecoming in Tuscaloosa. The top-ranked Tide get a breather against Western Carolina. Right, Coach?
Well, I obviously don't have the answer to the question.
Ouch! All right. We get you ready for the Iron Bowl next week. Will the Tigers have any bite left for Bama? Plus, the SEC East gets loose on Rocky Top. Would Mizzou roll down the mountain on the way to Atlanta? We've got the highlights. So get up. We've got record setters, record breakers. We're lighting up the night. Don't cry. It's Sports Saturday, and it starts right now.
From the campus of the University of Alabama, live sports from Alabama's sports team. This is WVUA Sports.
Well, it was another homecoming at Alabama and another victory for the Crimson Tide, their 13th consecutive homecoming win. And this was a nice moment for Michael Niswander, a senior from Hoover. He gets into the end zone in his final homecoming game, so that's big time for him. And welcome in, everybody, to Sports Saturday. I'm BJ Milliken along with Jen Chapman. I just stole your name.
You did. I'm Jen Chapman. It was one final chance for Alabama to tune up before next week's Iron Bowl, but a little closer than they wanted early on. In fact, Western Carolina became the first team to score on the Tide on their opening possession at home this entire season. But Bama would settle down. Blake Sims found Cam Sims, the true freshman, with the 4-yard touchdown catch. Yep,
moving ahead now, though, to the second quarter. Derrick Henry, he says, I don't like this game being so close. He provides a little breathing room. Burst there with 10 yards there, 92 yards on the ground for Henry tonight. 23 more coming up right here. Derrick Henry is a load, and it is hard to tackle him, especially if you play for Western Carolina. Bama picks up their 10th win of the year. 48-14 is your final. Nick Saban asked after the game how he kept his team focused this week.
Well, I obviously don't have the answer to the question, so it's more difficult than what I could figure out, right? Because, you know, we were flat as a pancake when we went out there today, so I didn't do a very good job. I didn't look at this game as if they really tried to keep focus. They really tried to keep the momentum of what we've been doing going. But, you know, when we went out there for pregame warm-up today, I was really sort of surprised that we didn't have a little more energy and a little more juice than we did. And, you know, we sort of had to play our way into it.
Important numbers to know from today. Bear Bryant had 5 straight seasons with 10 wins. Nick Saban now has 7 with the Tide. Although limited today, Amari Cooper still was able to tie career reception total for Alabama's history. Derrick Henry, Blake Sims, and Chris Black, top offensive performers today. For more post-game coverage and an update on some key Alabama injuries, here's Gary Harris and TiderInsider.com's Rodney Orr. Guys?
Thank you. Alabama does win it over Western Carolina 48-14 in this tune-up before next week's Iron Bowl here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Rodney Orr, Alabama did a lot of good things, had some mistakes. Early on, didn't look too sharp. Nick Saban said they lacked energy, but the big thing was a lot of players got banged around in this game, but post-game, the injury report really wasn't that bad, and that's good news.
Yeah, you know, again, the big thing was Amari Cooper went out early. It's just a bruised knee. He could have come back in the game. Cam Robinson and A'Shawn Robinson both banged up a little bit with ankles. They should be okay, according to Coach Saban. Darius Stewart and Brian Vogel are 2 guys that may be a little more limited and maybe questionable for next week with stretched knee ligaments. But other than that, it sounded pretty good. You know, TJ Yeldon did not play. DeAndre White did not play, but both of those guys just rested, so they'll be ready next week.
Denzel DeFall did not play as well. But after a slow start, Alabama got rolling, over 600 yards of offense. They held Western Carolina to a little over 200. A lot of young players got to play, a lot of running backs, a lot of receivers on offense making plays.
Yeah, I think, you know, we got to see Tyron Jones and Alty Tenpenny, 2 young running backs, the potential they have. You know, Alty had 66 yards on 11 carries. Tyron had 75 on 11. So both of those guys certainly got that lend some depth right now and project as really good players down the road.
Real quickly, as I said, next week it's the Iron Bowl. Just a 15-second look ahead. It's for all the marbles for Alabama.
I'll say this, Gary. Certainly Alabama should not lack for motivation based on what happened at the end of last year and what they have, you know, in front of them, the opportunities a win that in that game would mean and give them. And so, again, I think, you know, you're going to find an Alabama team that I believe will be ready to play.
That's next Saturday night. For tonight, it's Alabama over Western Carolina, 48-14. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Back to the studio.
Thanks, guys. More Sports Saturday is coming up next.
That's right, including a look around the SEC. How's the SEC East looking as we near the home stretch? Alabama can wrap up their end of the deal next week in a game that has been circled for nearly 365 days. It's officially Iron Bowl week. Everybody get fired up. Hear from the players coming up when Sports Saturday returns. Hey, we're back with our player of the day. Hey, remember last week when Melvin Gordon of Wisconsin broke the 15-year-old all-time single-game rushing yardage record? You remember that, Jen?
I remember.
Guess what? That record lasted 7 days because Samaje Perine of Oklahoma went and broke it today. The true freshman went off 427 yards on 34 carries as the Sooners beat KU. Alabama, Western Carolina only combined for 267 yards on the ground themselves. So that's a pretty amazing day for that guy.
Absolutely, but the Western Carolina game is already in the rearview mirror. That was pretty evident in the locker room after the game today. We are officially in Iron Bowl week.
Yeah.
The Auburn Tigers come to Bryant-Denny next Saturday night, and after the Tide put away the Catamounts, it's obvious the players were ready to talk about the Tigers down in Lee County.
It's big. I'm from Prattville, so that's always the biggest game, of the year. And Auburn, they're a good team. They're playing good football right now. And so we got to be focused and we got to play our best game. We want to beat those guys.
Oh, yeah, you got to come out and just focus on them. Watch film, play your keys, and if you don't come out with the right mindset, you'll get beat. So we got to have the right mindset throughout the whole week.
I mean, it's a big game for us, and definitely looking forward to playing those guys. I mean, we have a little chip on our shoulder against them, but definitely ready to face them when their time comes.
We don't look at last year's game. We know Auburn's got a great team this year, and we know we have to do everything that we have to do to win, and the coaches are going to get as prepared as they can this week, and go out there Saturday, have a great game.
Setting up to be a fun week. Here's a look at the last 3 meetings here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. 2 blowouts and a classic Auburn comeback. The game will be at night at 6:45 kickoff. We'll have coverage all week long, of course, here on WVUA. I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be my first experience here.
It's going to be fun for sure. I can promise you that. The best part is Alabama wins. They win the West. The other half of the Iron Bowl hosting Samford tonight. Former Tiger great Pat Sullivan coaching the Bulldogs from the box. He had to love this. Watch, Jen. Michael Eubank finds Tony Philbott. 7-yard touchdown pass. Samford on top. Rough 'em is what they say, but it wouldn't last. Tigers strike back. Nick Marshall finds Corey Grant. He's a speedy little guy. He's in the end zone. Auburn pulls away 31-7. How about Mississippi State on senior night against Vanderbilt? No hangover from Mississippi State from the Bama loss. Dak Prescott, a little shovel pass to Malcolm Johnson for the quick 7-0 lead. This one belonged to the Bulldogs. Later, it's going to be Dak looking, finding Josh Robinson for the score. State wins big in this one.
How about number 8 Ole Miss facing Arkansas today? The Razorbacks coming off their first SEC win under Brett Bielema. Missouri, my bad. Early first quarter, Brandon Allen hits Keon Hatcher for the 25-yard score. And then look, your favorite, a fake field goal. And they score on that one to go up 10-7. And then later we've got...
That's Matty Mock.
Catching.
How about that? Missouri with a big punch in the East tonight. They beat Tennessee 29-21. Maybe this is going to be the Arkansas highlights. Let's see. Let's roll that beautiful beam footage, guys. Do we have it?
Well.
What about Georgia? There we go. I called it right. Georgia with a cupcake game against Charleston Southern. Little Hudson Mason. Nice throw to Chris Conley. Not as nice as this, though. Same names. Watch that catch. Look at that. Stretching it out. It's Chris Conley. Let's watch it again. 23 yards. Bulldogs with a big win, 55-9. Let's check out that SEC scoreboard and see those other 2 cupcake games. Florida blowing out Eastern Kentucky 52-3, and South Alabama going all ham. Or I'm sorry, South Carolina going all ham on South Alabama. Hey, we've got more Sports Saturday coming up, Jen, don't we?
We do. We will be right back after this.
We're back on Sports Saturday. Hey, the team that everyone loves to hate, Florida State hosting Boston College in the rain. Jameis Winston doing Jameis things, finding Nick O'Leary for the score. 281 yards passing on the day for Jameis, but the ex-Gator Tyler Murphy on the zone read, untouched. They didn't get him, 21 yards. We were tied at 17, but we've heard this story before, Jen, haven't we?
And all season long.
Roberto Aguayo drills it. Of course he does. Seminoles win 20-17. Another big day in college football, right?
Yep, it'll be fun heading into next week watching those polls. They may change up a little bit. Only
That's right.
2 undefeated teams left.
And Jen, wouldn't you know it, one of them was playing in this very state. They're playing a football game today. The undefeated Marshall Thundering Herd playing at Legion Field, getting the bounces early. Watch Rakeem Cato scrambling, finds, nearly picked off there, but the ball does find his friend Angelo Jean-Louis. 43-yard touchdown. Blazers made it interesting. Jordan Howard's second score of the game gives the Blazers a 1-point lead after a 2-point conversion. It would not be enough, though. The Herd defense comes up with the play of the day, stripping the Blazers in the end zone. They win 23-18.
The 91st Annual Turkey Day Classic, Stillman and Alabama State. Stillman down 7-0. Josh Strawn hits Dondre Purnell for the score, but Stillman would find a way to trail 7-6. Under 8 minutes to go in the lane, and it comes out Malcolm Cyrus with a 1-yard out. Hornets hold on for the 30-27 win.
There we go. And hey, that's all the time we have for Sports Saturday today. A big day today at homecoming. Let's look at some of that as we get out of here. Good night, everybody.